விநாயகனே போற்றி, சத்குரு வடிவானவனே போற்றி, ஐங்கரத்தால் உலகை காக்கும் ஈசனே போற்றி, தேவர்கள் தொழுதிடும் தேவனே போற்றி, விக்னங்களை போக்கிடும் பரமனே போற்றி, ஓம்கார ரூபனே போற்றி போற்றி, கணநாதனே போற்றி 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 போற்றி.
ओम नमो भगवते श्रीरमणाय। अद्वैतम् आत्मनस्तत्त्वं दर्शयन्तौ मितस्तराम् तौ वन्दे जगताम् आद्यौ तयोस्तत्त्वाभिपत्तये। Shiva Shakti is one and the same. However, there being this semblance of duality, they appear as two intersecting in one form. And in this form, it is almost impossible to know whose is which half and starts where. Together with one another, they display the essential non-duality of their self. To them, who are the first cause, the parents of the universe, I bow, in order that I may reach their essence, their reality, their true state. I ever bow to that most compassionate Shankari, who overcomes ignorance and who is the personification of supreme knowledge, who is known in this world as the Guru. Om Namo Bhagavate Shri Ramanaya. That formless supreme reality is Shiva. And Shiva, in order that he may bask in bliss, reflects his form in the mirror that is he himself. And the reverse form, thus reflected, is his beloved Shakti. Thus there is this seeming difference, the seeming presence of the mind and time. Like pictures of two sides of one coin gives the appearance of two coins, thus is the essential unity of Shiva and Shakti. Shiva turns around as it were and is seen as Shakti. Om turns and becomes Uma. They are not one and they are not exactly alike, nor are they two, as they are not really different. How can we understand their nature and form? Where is even a trace of distinction between them? In the house of the universe, they are the only two. To that God and Goddess, let us offer our pranams. Ekam eva, ekameva. According to Skanda Purana, the term Kashi means light, the light of knowledge on the path of ignorance. Also, where Lord Shiva is present with his flame of life. Coming to Kashi, a place that is the very form of Shiva, a place where mortals are granted release from the cycle of life and death. Uma, offered worship to Lord Shiva, who abides here as Vishveshwara. And while she was there, it so happened that the region was affected by famine. People suffered from severe hunger, and the good king of Kashi could not give them relief from their agony. Seeing her children suffer thus, Uma, the mother of the universe, was so moved that she took the form of Annapurna as an act of supreme compassion. Carrying a vessel of food and a ladle to serve, she, Annapurna, the mother of all, started serving food to all the needy of Kashi. Without taking rest for a moment, she tirelessly continued this act of divine compassion day and night. The king came to hear of this mysterious lady who was alleviating the torments of the hungry in a manner never before heard or seen. He was amazed and came looking, wanting to find out what this force was that was working thus. And there, in the flood of people queuing up to her for food, was Lord Shiva himself. As a mendicant he came, empty vessel in hand, begging for alms. In this supreme act of dharma, Mother Uma has demonstrated the way of Karma Yoga, where she works for the benefit of the world, removes their suffering by performing the supreme dharma of Annadana as an act of love, compassion, out of the power of her Lord as an offering to her Lord. And since she serves the world selflessly with utter dedication, the karma is an act of worship, and she actually serves the Lord who abides in all creatures. And to demonstrate the truth of this, Lord Shiva himself came as a mendicant begging for food from her. Such was the divine drama enacted by Shiva and Uma. Glory to them. The Shiva aspect of Ekameva then asked Uma to proceed to Kanchi, the sacred Mokshapuri, one of the most sacred cities that bestow salvation. Lord Shiva told her, the city known as Kanchipuri is heaven on earth. There flows the holy river Kampa that washes away all sins. Devi, go perform penance there. I shall remain in the lotus of your heart, in the formless state as pure being. Goddess Uma went to Kanchi and meditated on her Lord. She performed rigorous penance, and her body became emaciated because she suffered severe pangs of separation from her Lord. The name of Shiva was ever on her lips. She offered herself completely to worship of the Lord. Every day she used to fashion a Shivalinga from the sands of the bank of the river Kampa. One day, Lord Shiva made the waters of Kampa rise and overflow its banks. The goddess saw the approaching flood and immediately embraced the Shivalinga, lest it dissolve or be carried away. Clasping the Shivalinga, she meditated on Shiva with one-pointed devotion and complete surrender, quite oblivious of the fast waters rushing all over her. Then Lord Shiva blessed her and told her that the flood had subsided. The linga worshipped by her is the most holy Ekamvareshwara of everlasting fame, the great God that grants boons. Thus in Kanchipuram, she demonstrated the way of Bhakti Yoga, the path of devotion and surrender. In this divine drama, River Kampa, known for washing away all sins, broke its banks by divine will and drenched the goddess clutching the linga. In what might seem an act of washing away the sins of a devotee of the Lord, River Kampa, in fact, cleansed itself of all sin by the touch of Devi Uma. Such was the divine drama at Kanchi. Such is her glory at Kanchi, where she reigns as Devi Kamakshi, granting boons. Glory to Ekamreshwara and Devi Kamakshi. After Kanchi, Shiva of Ekameva asked Uma to proceed to the most holy Arunachala. Lord Shiva told her, O Devi, I myself shine as the effulgent hill of Arunachala for the liberation of mortals. The name Arunachala proclaims that the accumulated sins of the world will vanish at the sight of it. The mere thought of Arunachala grants mukti, salvation. I shall reveal to you my effulgent form there for the benefit of the world. Go there, O Devi. Thus it was that Goddess Uma came to Arunachala. Even a million tongues cannot relate how the Supreme Being, out of compassion, took the form of the Arunachala hill. Lord Shiva abides here as the very hill, the most holy of holies. It was here that he appeared as the infinite column of light, whose ends could not be found by Brahma or Vishnu. It is that supreme effulgence that has taken the form of this hill. In this form, he has been worshipped by all the gods, starting from Brahma, all the Devas, Dikpalas, Grahas, sages, yogis, birds and beasts. Lord Arunachala grants liberation to those who merely think of him. Such is his infinite compassion. Goddess Uma performed penance at Arunachala. Amidst the grip of unimaginable pain of separation from her Lord, during the month of Kartika, when the star of Kritika was in conjunction with the moon, Lord Arunachala manifested before her as a supreme effulgence resembling the rising of crores of suns. As the goddess prostrated and stood up with joy, Lord Shiva rose out of that effulgence in a golden form and bluish throat. Goddess Uma prayed to him that this day be celebrated every year and that the Lord may be pleased to display his effulgence on that day every year. The Lord agreed. She then prayed that she obtain union with him. The Lord then absorbed her as the left half of his being. Shiva Shakti at Arunachala was now the form of Ardhanarishwara. What seemed two had again become one. Ekameva. In this divine drama, Goddess Uma displays the way of Jnana. She comes to Arunachala, the heart of the world, the fount of Jnana. Here she undergoes severe penance. Yet the Leela of Shiva and Uma continues. For the final irrevocable absorption as the one supreme being, there is yet the final round for the devotee, the utter hopelessness and the complete surrender at the last call. Then happens the burst of effulgence, the complete union, back as Ekameva, Ekam Eva, Ekameva.
It was the 30th of December, 1879. It was in the little sacred village of Tiruchuri near Madurai in Tamil Nadu. Outside, the music accompanying Lord Nataraja's grand procession enveloped Tiruchuri and rose into the skies in crescendo even as the Lord re-entered the temple of Bhuminatheshwara and Sahayamba. in the inner chamber of the house of Sundaram Iyer and Azhagammal, as if within their heart, the music was a great cry of rejoicing which rang forth with the words, "Light! Light! Light! Azhagu, these blind eyes have seen an all-enveloping light."
ஒளியே வந்ததே பிஞ்சு பிஞ்சு பாதத்தால் இருளினை உதைத்தே வந்தது வந்தது ஒளியே வந்ததே வந்ததே மென்மலர் சிறு கரங்களில் ஒளியை அள்ளி எங்கெங்கும் 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 வீசியே வந்ததே வந்ததே ஒளியே வந்ததே வந்ததே வந்ததே.
This voice of Arunachala that resounded as a joyous cry of the blind midwife when Sri Ramana was born continued in the lullabies that Azhagamma sang to the infant Ramana. What no one knew then was that the voice of Arunachala was ever reverberating in Ramana's heart as the Arunachala Spurana.
Arunachala, Arunachala, Arunachala.
தோன்றுமே ஒரு முறை நீ பார்த்தாலும் இதயம் மகிழுமே ஒரு முறை நீ சிரித்தாலும் புதுமை தோன்றுமே
போற்றுவோம் சிவனை போற்றுவோம் அண்ணாமலை ஈசனை போற்றுவோம் சிவனை போற்றுவோம் அண்ணாமலை ஈசனை கிண 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 ஜா ததி தகிண கிண கிண ஜா ததி தகிண கிணாம் ததகதராம் ததரும் ததாம் தாம் தகதிகு ததி கிணதும் கிண கிணாம் ததகதராம் ததரும் ததாம் தாம் தகதிகு ததி கிணதும் கிண கிணாம் ததகதராம் ததரும் ததாம் தாம் தகதிகு ததி கிணதும் ததரதனி தஜம் ததனதிரன தஜம் தனம் ததோ ததிரதீம் ததரதனி தஜம் ததனதிரன தஜம் தனம் ததோ ததிர போற்றுவோம் சிவனை போற்றுவோம் அண்ணாமலை ஈசனை போற்றுவோம் சிவனை போற்றுவோம் அண்ணாமலை ஈசனை போற்றுவோம் சிவனை போற்றுவோம் அண்ணாமலை ஈசனை ஈஸ்வரன் உனக்காயேற்றிய தீபம் எங்கள் நெஞ்சில் போற்றினோம் போற்றி ஈஸ்வரன் உனக்காயேற்றிய தீபம் எங்கள் நெஞ்சில் போற்றினோம் போற்றி அண்ணாமலை மேல் கார்த்திகை தீபம் மின்னிடர் கண்டு வணங்கினோம் போற்றி அண்ணாமலை மேல் கார்த்திகை தீபம் மின்னிடர் கண்டு வணங்கினோம் போற்றி ஈஸ்வரன் ஏற்றிய தீபம் எங்கள் நெஞ்சில் போற்றினோம் போற்றி. அண்ணாமலை மேல் கார்த்திகை தீபம் மின்னிடல் கண்டு வணங்கினோம் போற்றி. போற்றி 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 போற்றி.
एकमेव